You're watching EVH Gear TV. Official Van Halen merchandise for EVH Gear TV is provided by VanHalenStore.com. Now, here's your host from Ontario, Canada, EVH Gear artist Eric Broadbent.
Hey everyone, happy Thursday evening and welcome to EVH Gear TV. Hope everyone is doing very, very well. An unprecedented show this evening, but I thought I was going to be doing a demo on the Positive Grid BIAS Distortion pedal. And instead of doing the typical full-blown camera setup like I do in here sometimes, I figured, you know what? I don't know the pedal all that well yet. Obviously, just a tiny bit of hands-on experience on it. I thought, let's learn it together with some of the fans of EVH Gear TV. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be my fresh learning curve with the pedal, and you'll get to see, you know, when you bring it home from the store, how quickly you can learn the pedal as well, too. I've maybe invested 15 minutes time on the pedal. I know how to download some things from the Tone Cloud. I know how to pair it with devices and things like that. But I'm going to show you how incredibly simple it is to do that, and I'm going to give you some real-world examples. I'm going to download some things from the Tone Cloud, and then as I wrap up the demo, I'm going to play it along with a song. Now, what I'm going to do for the people that are jumping in the chat, I'm going to do things a little bit different tonight. And just so people can, if people find this video after the fact and they want to see the demo of the product, they could just watch the demo. If they want to hang around and hear some of my comments back to some of the live participants, that's fine as well. I'll be more than welcome to stay. So I'm going to address everyone over in the chat. So I appreciate everyone that's jumping in there right now, and I will address you all for sure at the end of the demo. And I don't think the demo is going to take more than probably about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll have some fun and just hang out. How's that sound? Okay, so in a moment, I'm going to jump over to my other screen, and I'm going to be sharing a screen, a camera angle of myself, of the pedal itself. You can see it a little bit off to the side here, and then I'm going to show my iPad, which I'm going to connect and pair with the device and show you how easy that is. But before we even jump over to the pedal itself, I want to show you the almost like it's an unboxing type of a deal, because I want you to see the quality and the care that Positive Grid puts into their products just in the packaging alone. So I'm going to grab it here. One of the first things, here's what it looks like in the box itself. Good sized box, okay? And it kind of, not to compare Positive Grid to Apple or things like that. Some people are Apple fans, some people aren't Apple fans. But you know, when you get an Apple product, they put a lot of care and thought and into the design, the packaging. And a person like myself having a marketing, a lot of experience in marketing, that is a lot. That says a lot. I said the same thing with Rode microphones too when you saw me doing the unboxing of their products. Like, the boxes alone are pretty darn cool. So I'm going to crack this open and just show you. I've already got the pedal out, but I just want to show you what comes inside this thing. So try to do this one-handed here if I can. Bear with me. All right, it's really nice. A box inside of a box kind of deal. All right, there we go. Put that down carefully. So there again, nice embossed logo kind of deal. Very, very nice. Okay, everything inside like that. Now the accessories are taken out. I'm going to put actually there's a link in the description here as well to take you to Positive Grid's website, right to the BIAS Distortion pedal. But everything is pretty awesome in here. It comes with its own power adapter, and what I really like about that, it's the fact that it's a universal, and by universal I mean it's got different prongs that will pop out for North America, for European, and then it also has a USB cable which hooks up to the unit by USB, and it can be removed so you can actually use the device, the pedal hooked up to your computer, which is very, very cool. So that it's kind of a double-in-one thing. Now, I did see a video the other day. I was watching a couple of reviews on this pedal, and I saw one fellow saying like it does take a typical 9-volt DC adapter as well, so you can run. That's over on the right-hand side of the pedal. And he was saying that the typical Boss ones and things like that wouldn't fit, and I don't know what he was doing, because it does fit. I was using it on my pedal board yesterday with my Strymon power supply, and everything worked fine just with my regular cables. In this case, in this environment here, I'm using the DC adapter that's plugged in just behind my computer, and I'm using the USB portion of it to power it up, and it works great. So there's basically the packaging and the contents are of that. So it's very, very striking when you get that. They put a lot of detail into the packaging. So I'm going to jump over to another screen here. Just bear with me for a second. And there we go. So we got everything on the screen here as well. You can see I've got the pedal here as well. So I've got a live demo of the pedal, and it's disengaged right now. So I'm just running in. To give you an example, what I'm running for tone, I'm running to the EVH 5150 300 watt half stack back there to the clean channel, and this is what my clean channel sounds like now. Okay, I'm just running reverb and a bit of delay just for some ambiance, because I'm one of those guys that likes to have at least a little bit of that stuff, and it's nice and clean. Okay, so we're going to start just with the presets. I'm going to kind of explain how things work on here. So I think we got it on the screen. Yeah, we can see it. All right, so right off the get-go, you have a dial that has 3 presets, 1, 2, and 3. Then you go into boost, turbo, screamer, overdrive, distortion, fuzz, and metal. And one of my favorites right off I'm not a metal guy per se. Like, I like hard rock, but I'm not one of these, new metal guys. But I like the metal setting. That's one of my comfortable spots. That's that I can live with, and I can kind of tweak from there. And that's the cool thing. A lot of these things are just starting points for you. The stepping stones. Get to a spot where you like it, and then you can go crazy from there. So we're going to take a look at each one of those tones. Those models of distortion and overdrives and fuzz faces and things like that. We're going to go through the EQ settings. We're going to talk about the boost. I'm going to show you how to download presets from the tone cloud, show you how to save them to the pedal, and all kinds of other stuff. And one of the really cool things about this, maybe we should talk about who this pedal is for. This pedal is pretty much for anybody, and here's one of the benefits of it. Not only do you get what you get here, and do you get what you get off the internet from the tone cloud. Let's say you've got some really expensive pedals. Maybe they're not even collector's pedals, but you're gigging every weekend. You don't want to take out some of those pedals and get them dinged up. And, once you get them out to the clubs and big stages, it's very easy to get things dropped on them, kicking them with your boots. And you're taking real abuse that some of your pedals maybe don't have to have. You can use the amp match and the tone match and pedal match. And just like you've used before with all of Positive Grid's products, you can actually sample the DNA of one of your favorite pedals. So let's say you want to use, we're going to say the Mxr 5150 Overdrive pedal, and you really, really like that pedal. And, you want to take that one with you, but don't want to take you don't want to take the risks of damage or loss or whatever, right? So you can actually hook your guitar up into the your Mxr pedal, run it into this pedal here, and do the pedal match, and you can actually sample that DNA of that pedal, and you've got it. So you could take that, maybe a really expensive, vintage distortion pedal, whatever you want. You can save that in here, and you can upload them to the tone cloud for safekeeping, and that way you can grab them anywhere. You don't have to have your computer to do it. You just have to have Wi-Fi access and a tablet, which is great. That's one of the features I really, really love about it, and I think you're going to find so many benefits with it. And like I say, this is the best way to do this, because it's either going to go very, very well for me, or it's going to go not so much. And I figured, this will probably be the most realistic and honest demo, because I'm learning it with you at the same time, and I can't think of better people to share it with than a lot of the tone freaks that come on the channel here, myself included. Tone freak, I like discovering tones and all kinds of fun stuff like that as well too. So any people that are joining in the chat right now too, just so you know, I'm doing things a little backwards tonight. I'm going to address all the chat questions and just say hi and everything at the end of the demo, and we're going to get right into it right now. So let's start with bring it over to one of the first presets. Okay, so there we go. We're on preset 1 right now, and here's what we got. Okay. Okay. And so I'm going to give you an idea. That's just one preset. That's right from the factory. And I reset this back to factory standards. I did a little bit of modding with it when I was playing with it for a few minutes. So I wanted to be right back to factory, just like you would have it when you get home. So that's just a distortion. I don't even know what model that is because it's on a preset. But I'm going to show you how active the EQ is. Okay, let's take a look at that. Okay. One of the first things I do with any pedal is I like to crank the mids, and I like to go extremes. I like to completely scoop them 100% off and then 100% full, just to hear the differences. And I usually stay at around 100% full, as a lot of you know on my 5150s and the Mxr 5150 Overdrive, I tend to keep that mid cranked. So let's play with that mid in an extreme here. Mid completely scooped. Now that's maybe too extreme for me. I like a lot of mids, but that's too extreme for me. Not too bad right there. All right, let's roll up to preset number 2. And actually, I could do this with my fingers as well too, or this would be my foot in this case. Preset 1, preset 2. Preset 3. I'm just doing it in this case here because I don't want to move the pedal too much and get it out of the camera, so I'm just turning them. So let's go back to 1, and I did move it already. See that? All right, let's move it over to 2. Let's try that one. So this one's a real fuzzy. Very fuzzy, kind of nice. And there again, you can tailor that to your liking. So if I was to change something right now, watch the red light on that one start blinking. Ready? Okay, now that's basically saying you've changed something. Would you want to commit that save? You want to change that, whatever. And in this case, because I'm not going to use that preset probably again, I'm going to do something crazy with it. I'm going to crank up the mids again, and I'm going to save it. All I have to do to save that now is press and hold this. There, it's saved. So those changes that I committed it now to the pedal, which is very cool. Now we're going to go over to patch number 3, and then we're going to get into preset number 3. Then we're going to get into actually all the modes of the distortion. So now we're talking real heavy. Now it's still, to me, that sounds like a fuzz with a full gain. Mids kind of scooped on that one, but that's one of the presets as well. So that one I'm not too crazy about, but here again, they're all stepping stones where you start with, and then you can change to your heart's content. Let's get now into the actual modes of pedals. So this is almost like having 6-8 different distortion, overdrive, fuzz pedals at your disposal, at your feet or your fingertips in this case. All right. Okay, so now we're in strictly a boost mode. So boost, you could basically set that how much you want the boost to be. All right, we're going to go over to, this is turbo, I believe. Yeah, that's correct on that one. Okay, so just a slight grit. Now my level's probably a little high. I could be clipping there a little bit. I'm going to try to bring it back just a hair. All right, and let's go over to, let's try the screamer. So obviously everyone knows what that's like, the tube screamer. And in a moment, I'm going to pair it with my iPad that you can see on the screen here as well too. And then you'll see what the pedals look like as I turn every knob. It'll show you a different pedal on the screen as well too. All right, so let's go over to, now this is, we're getting to the territory where I like the overdrive. I like that. That's pretty nice. Now let's see where the gain is on that. We'll roll the gain all the way back. Here's full gain. Okay, there's an overdrive. Let's get right into distortion now. All right, here's distortion. Well, see, it's lacking a little bit there. It almost sounds like I was playing on the neck pickup my guitar, so it's going to roll back a little bit of bass. And the thing right now, see, it's a little bit of guesswork. Like I'm looking from the side here, and I can't really see the dot on the top of the dial. Now, if I was to pair it with the iPad, I'd be able to see physically as I do it. And we're going to do that in just a moment. I just want to show you without even looking at the knobs where you are. It gives you an idea of what it sounds like. So very fuzzy. Okay, we're going to jump, speaking of fuzz, we're going to jump right over to fuzz. Okay. So very fuzzy, almost blown speaker. Not too bad for fuzz. Okay, and then my favorite, and like I said earlier, metal. I'm not the metal guy, but metal is my starting point. So any pedal that I'm going to probably build with this pedal, or tone match, or pedal match, or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to probably start with the metal preset. And here's what we got with that one. Put a little bit more mids in there. So that one's going to be a lot of fun. I can see a lot of people using the metal one. At least a lot of the guys that watch this show, they're the kind of the rock guys, and they're probably going to work with that one and, you know, experiment from there. I'm going to keep it on metal for a second because I like that patch, and I'm going to show you how the boost feature works. So on the boost over here, you still see there's a fat, clean, and treble. So do you want to boost like basically a fat boost, a bit of a clean boost, or more like of a sizzle on the high end with the treble? So I leave it myself up in the treble position, all right? And then you have a full range of how much you want it to boost. So let's just see how loud that level sounds right now. Okay, let's boost it. Didn't do much here because we didn't change it much. I'm gonna go pretty extreme, okay? I'm going to put it what looks probably like around the 2 o'clock position. That boost is quite nice. So use that, get it for your solos, get the patch that you like, and then when you save this patch again in the preset, you'll save it exactly with that boost. So I would say make a nice preset you like, save it to preset 1, and then take that same one, put a huge boost like for a guitar solo, and put that to the second preset. So there you go, your 2 main patches. Very, very cool. Now let's get into the fun stuff. Let's talk about pairing it up with a device. In this case, you see my iPad on the screen, which I've got mirrored, and you can't see it on the back here, but there's a button just to the back left here, and it's a Bluetooth button. So I push that. You're probably going to see a little bit of blue light blinking. Can you see that yet? There's a little bit of a blue light blinking there. Okay, and I'm going to pair it right here. So I just check on my iPad, see how it says connect, push that, and it doesn't take long. 30 seconds maybe at the very most. Searching for the device. There we go. Actually quite fast. It's pretty neat. Watch this. I hope everyone's doing well in the chat there as well too. And I will jump over and answer questions at the end of the demo, which we're getting close to being done anyways. There we go. All right. So look at that. See how the pedal changes as well too? So as I went through that dial before, watch this. So here's a preset for the first one we started with. Now watch the pedal change and everything else change on the iPad on the screen. Okay, look at that. Ice Overdrive. Turn it again. I'm not sure what that is. Just some kind of a distortion pedal, I think it says. Okay, just a boost. Another one. There you go. That's a screamer, and it actually looks like a tube screamer. Kind of the old Ibanez design, right? Okay. Getting into that one. There we go. That's distortion. To me, that looks kind of like one of Boss's style of pedals. Obviously orange, it looks like the old DS1, I believe, except DS1 only had the 3 knobs, but still, I think they're trying to model a little bit off of Boss pedals. There's a classic one. You recognize that when we're in the Fuzz, and now we're in metal. And look at that. Isn't that like a metal zone? Pretty cool, isn't it? And no matter what I do, now watch this. I'm going to change, if I change the knobs on here, let's say I change the mids. Okay, so there's no mid in this one. It could be bass. Okay, so if the pedal doesn't have a mid function, it will serve no purpose. So let's change the lows. See that? See as I'm changing the lows, it's going right there. Or watch this. I can do it on my iPad as well too. So I'm going to touch the iPad here, and I'm going to change the distortion. See that? Isn't that cool? Now, that doesn't move the knobs over here. They're not a motorized knob or anything like that. But when I save it, okay, wherever I want it, so I could actually go right now if I go store to pedal, because now I've made my mods and things like that, and I just pick where I want to save it. Now, I'm not going to save it in this case because I don't want to overwrite anything at this point yet, so I'm just going to skip that. Okay. Now, let's try a couple different patches here. Let's do this for a second. Let's go grab another pedal. Now, these are ones that are just built with it. Watch this. So I'm going to pick, I don't want to show you the 5150 yet because that's when I downloaded, and we'll take a look at that one in a second. But let's take a look at a typical distortion. All right. Takes a second. Sometimes I think you have to double tap it. Come on, work with me here, iPad. Try this. Not cooperating with me. Just 1 second. Are we still connected? Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. We're good. So let's actually change the knobs right on the iPad. So actually, that's not too bad right there. A little fuzzy for me, but see that? Right live. Isn't that cool? Now, what we're going to do here, we're going to go on the tone cloud and we're going to grab something. And the nice thing about that too is you can just go to the tone cloud and experiment and try and kind of sample, test drive before you waste time. Like I said, there might be some patches you just don't like. So you'll go and you'll sample them. It's almost like taking a little taste test, right? So we're going to go to the tone cloud and you have to be logged in. In this case, I am. It's free to create an account. All right, so I have it right now on the most popular. Okay, so that's why I have it set, and that's always a good way to start as well, to look for the most popular pedals, and then go from there. So let's have a look and see what we got here. Let's take all right. Well, in this case here, this is one I downloaded earlier. Let's grab it again. And I didn't create this one. Someone else created it. And it's been downloaded, Mxr EVH 5150, been downloaded 393 times. So it's a pretty decent pedal. Let's have a look. And it was a tone match apparently too. The fellow who built this one obviously tone matched it to his Mxr 5150 Overdrive. So right now we're still hearing probably the old distortion that I just had in the last patch. Okay, let's sample this one. So I just hit the preview button, and I'll just try to strum a couple open notes so you can hear the pedal change from patch to patch. Sorry, I might have to stop that because I have to use my other hand. Come on. So it's changed. Now this person has scooped his mids a lot, and that could be for somebody. I don't like the mid scooped. So I'm going to take that right now, and I'm going to, well, we have it downloaded, so let's do that. Let's go back, because you can't actually change much while you're sampling it. But let's go back home, and I'm going to grab that pedal. Okay, I go back in here, grab the Mxr. Okay, so there we go. And let's crank those mids. See that? See how it's going right live? And I just touched it just a little tiny bit, and it really made a big difference. Pretty cool, isn't it? So let's have a look. We're going to take some of those lows out a little bit. Okay, bring the level up a bit more. And let's just go crazy on the gain, because we can. I love it. It's a lot of fun, and a very active EQ. Let's bring up those lows. So very active, very responsive. Every little notch is totally recognizable. Now here's where you can go crazy with this stuff. So I'm just showing the pedals that you can get. All right, you can go into the clipping stage, you can go into the output stage. This is where you can tweak until the cows come home, as I like to say. So the output stage, let me see here. Actually, in the power module, take a look at this. You know what you can do is you can overpower a pedal. So you could make this one. Let's say this was the Mxr 5150. I don't believe runs on 18 volt. I think it's strictly 9 volt. But who's to say we can't do it in the virtual world? We're at a 9 volt battery right now. See what we can do there? Changing it to an 18 volt. All kinds of different stuff. 6 volts, so you can starve it for power. Kind of very accurate. Isn't that cool? You can put compression and your output on there, like all your stages. Let's bring the compression way back. Oh, you can go to the cows come home. Put in an EQ if you want to. No, I don't want to use the EQ too much with the pedal. You could go crazy with that if you want, because I want the pedal to sound like it is. If I would be using an EQ pedal separate on my board if I was to do that. But let's just say we're gonna do it for argument's sake. We pop the EQ into the mix right there. So let's take it out of the mix, man, so you can hear it. You hear that instant response? Okay. Hear how noticeable that is right away? No, that's a little nasally there, but I wanted to show you an extreme with the mids, and I tend to be the guy that always goes crazy with the mids, and I've got a very weird EQs there. But so let's take the EQ back out. There's a pedal match like I was showing you before. Basically, when you go into pedal match, You hook up your other pedal, you run your guitar into the pedal, into that one, and you start with a pedal that would be similar to what you want to mimic, right? You always want to start with as close to the common ground as possible. So if I wanted to make a really cool, simple distortion with just distortion level and tone, and maybe clone something like the Boss DS1, I would start with something like that, something that doesn't have all the extra knobs, just plain simple. Use that as the common nucleus to create the new patch, and it's very easy to go from there. Now, I haven't done that yet, and there are some good demos on YouTube. That's I could do a whole show just on that portion alone, so I figured I'd save a little bit of time tonight, not do the pedal match, but look up on YouTube later on, look up BIAS Distortion and pedal match, and you'll see some great videos on that as well too. The clipping stage you can change to your heart's content. All kinds of different stuff. I mean, you can take a pedal and it might sound good on a 412, but it doesn't sound good on a 212 or an open back cabinet or something. So you can go into each one of these extra modules of the pedal. And it's almost like you have the pedal on your board, on your engineering board or wherever, your workbench, and you want to change some transistors, you want to change whatever, you can do all that just with a touch of the iPad or whatever device you're on. So let's try some of the things here too as well too. You can change the bias to hot or cold. See if I can do that. That's making a huge difference just in itself. Distortion. All right, so let's go back to that again too. And let's go back and we'll grab another pedal. Let's go, look at the samples that you have. So in distortion, you've got that overdrive, full drive, sparkle drive, tube screamer, tube driver, ice overdrive. You saw a lot of those in the demos. The fuzzes, typical what you'd expect from your fuzz faces to just about everything under the sun. Different booster pedals, very, very nice. Like here's a power booster. Let's have a look at this. And for some reason, it's got stripes on it, and I didn't stripe that. So just a slight little bit of grit. Okay. See how much that changed? It's very responsive. Okay, we'll go back in here again too. I'm going to go to custom. I think I might have saved a couple in there. Yeah, it looks like I overrode a metal one. And you can tell, a Van Halen fan, obviously, got quite a few pedals with some stripes. Your metal tone. So what I'm going to do in a second here, I'm going to give you an example of what this will sound like in conjuncture of a song. Because it's hard for me to play a couple notes and change the patches. And it might sound okay here, it may not sound okay here to your ears. But I'll give it to you in a real world environment where you hear it with a song, okay? I like that. That's nice right there. Now see, the only thing I would miss in a case like that was I'd miss the mids. I love having control of mids. So obviously this shouldn't affect it. Actually it does. Even though there's not a mid control on there, it does affect it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go back to that preset that I told you about earlier, the metal one. That's built onto here, and I'm just going to tweak the mids to where I like them a little tiny bit, and I'll play it with the song. How does that sound? We'll give that a shot. So what I want to do now is I want to unconnect it, or I want to unpair it. So I just click on here, and watch the colors. The lights are going to change here as well too. So I'm going to go disconnect and watch what happens. Okay, back to normal. It's waiting now to be used in the real world. And as you saw earlier too, I could have saved anything I wanted to the pedal at any given time and to choose where I want it to go. But I want to go now to the metal. All right, there we go. Let's see what we have with that. Just gonna try to tweak a little bit to my liking. Not bad. Okay, and I'm going to try my best to use the boost when I go to do a guitar solo in this song. I'm just trying to see what I like better for the boost. If it's fat, clean, or treble boost. I think I'll go with the treble boost. All right, so I turn the boost back off. Let me get some headphones on here. And I was doing a demo the other night too, and I had some latency issues. I thought it was a problem with the computer, and I think what it was, I was using my earbud headphones, and I just don't think I was hearing my mix very well. So that's why it was too bad, because it was a good demo, but there was latency issues. It sounded like I was about, I don't know, 50 or 100 milliseconds, probably close to that, or even more, out of time with my backing tracks. So that was a bit of a nuisance. I think this should be in time with each other. So I'm going to roll off the vocal mic here if I can. And I'll just do one song. I'm not going to play a bunch of songs like I do tonight, but just want to give you one song in conjunction with the pedals so you can hear what it sounds like in the real world. And then we're going to be done with the demo, and I'm going to go over and answer some questions if you guys have some. See what my level's like here. All right, here we go. So there you go. There's a real world example. Let's turn this off here. That is it. What'd you guys think? I am going to roll my other mics back as well. I'm getting some crosstalk here, which is weird. Okay, let's turn that off and get rid of this. 1 second. So let's change cameras here now too. And there's some questions, really good questions about the back of it too, and MIDI and things like that. So let's have a look at that. Let's jump back over here. Hopefully everybody can still hear me. All right, so I'm going to unhook it right now. As a matter of fact, what I should do, let's do this. I am just going to put my tuner on mute so I can, don't have any pops. 1 second. All right, I'll just save a lot of pops and clicks and all that kind of good stuff, or bad stuff, however you want to look at it. Okay, so there's your back. I'm going to unplug it. So I think Quentin was asking about MIDI. So let's, you know what we're going to do? Let's jump right to the very, very beginning of the chat and see what I can answer, okay? All right, so joining us. That concludes basically the demo portion of the pedal. So if people are just coming to this down the road after the fact, it's not live. Yeah, the very first portion of this video obviously is the demo, and now we're just going to talk and discuss it a little bit and say hi to everybody. Quentin James is joining, saying hey all, Lyle Ketchum, Mark Taylor, Joseph Burt, Vintage Sounds, Thomas Santiago, Brent Rocks, Jared Frost. Jared just picked up the new EVH Gear 5150 Stripe Series guitar. The Stripe, it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful guitar. And congratulations to you, Jared. Let me see. Happy 5150 day. That sure is. Billy Shelton's here saying, hey, Eric, Craig, Guitar Wannabe. Let me see here. Thomas Santiago says, congrats on the 5150. Dactar was just messing with the Fuzz software last week. Frank or Jared saying the guitar is killer. Frank McNeil says, hey, Eric, looking forward to this session. Ella says hello too. Fantastic. Great. Say hello for me too, please. Insomniac Matt says, my home tone is almost scooped mids. I feel I can get away with it because the PV Valve King's gain channel is apparently a clone or heavily based on the Marshall JCM, which has strong mids. There you go. If it's a heavy intensive mid, then you can scoop some as well. I used to scoop my mids way back, probably the 9 o'clock position on my amplifier, and it was one of my original guitar players from my very first band as a teenager, who is now a very, very good sound tech, and he was guitar tech on the road with some people as well too, and he's done sound for my band a lot of times. And he came up one day and said, I was using PV 5150s, and he said, he was trying to get my attention to do something. I'm like, what, am I too loud? Am I not loud enough? He comes up and he just takes my mids and cranks them. And from that day, I do that every time. I have all my amps back there. The mids are dimed. Every amp I've ever owned, I start with that. And even with pedals, I tend to dime the mids. I know you can get out of hand with that after a while too, but I think sometimes too much mid is a little bit better than not enough, because you'll cut through the mix every time. Now, there's some sound techs that know a lot more than me when it comes to that, and they may argue that point. But it's figurative, right? Whatever it's whatever you like is what works for you. Let me see here. Craig says, my buddy's getting one, can't compare it to the Stealth 5150, or can't wait to compare it to it. Very nice. Brent Rocks is probably commenting at one point about one of the tones I was working with. He said it's got that Zeppelin vibe. Let me see here. MB says a laptop won't connect to the internet, so I've got to watch on my phone. Neil Banbury. Yeah, there could. Yeah, if you're listening to the iPad, it may not sound as good to you through the iPad speakers. You do need to hear maybe through some headphones, or maybe through computer speakers as well too. And Insomniac says, I never cared for fuzz effects. I can get into a similar tone on my neck pickup and completely rolling off the tone knob. Yeah, I'm not a real fuzz guy either. I've never really used fuzz. I'm more of a distortion, or more distortion in the overdrive even as well too. And it's funny, they call it the 5150 overdrive and overdrive. I think it's more in the distortion category myself for sure. And MB says, I'm listening through 4 stereo speakers and it sounds great. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. It says we're commenting on some Metallica riffs I was doing at the time. Timothy Pierce is joining, saying hello, Eric and Poison, Ivy, and everyone. Manny Meja says, made it, let's rock. And Insomniac Matt says, man, that's some awesome pinch harmonics. Thank you. Vintage Sound says, positive grid bias distortion sounds great. Can you update it through the USB port? Yes, you can. You can run it to your Mac or your PC, no problem, through the USB cable. Frank says, cool split screen. And thank you. Insomniac says, my first distortion pedal was a Digitech grunge pedal. It was like $70. Yeah, Digitech pedals were always affordable, and they always had a good resale value too. You could always trade them back in and get a good buck for them. I'd never had that one. I knew a lot of people that did have it though. I think it was wasn't it like a red sparkle or something like that too? Crackle. Looks to be the Boss Metalcore MB's talking about when we were talking about one of those pedals. Maybe this 5150 overdrive versus a real thing. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I took mine off the board and I don't have it hooked up right now. Maybe I'll do another A/B comparison video later, and that'd be really cool to try it to see. It'd be the proof would be in the pudding on that one for sure. Mark Taylor saying that sounds great. Quentin James, he says, hate to be a troll, but with the Helix, etc., BIAS needs to come up with a multi-effect pedal board with BIAS amps and BIAS effects. Just saying, you never know. Those guys are always, they've come a long way since the Jam Up software on the mobile devices. They've come a very, very long way. I didn't think we'd ever see amplifiers from them as well too. And I know they have a really good guy at the helm of that company and the sales for the Americas, Eric Sands. He's a friend on Facebook, and he comes on the show quite often. He's a brilliant mind, and who knows what's coming. I don't know what they're doing when it comes to things like that. I tend to know pretty much the same time as you guys do, but that would be very cool. And positive grid, maybe that's a thought to think about. The pedal matching feature is cool, Quentin James says. Lyle Ketchum says, so if you wake up tomorrow and cannot find this unit, I have no clue what happened to it. And Frank says, I love the BIAS with my iPad. And yes, so now we're getting to some of the questions as well too. Quentin says, just have MIDI too. So now that I've unhooked it, I'll show you the back, okay? So on the back, we've got your input here, output, expression pedal. Okay, so you could actually roll gain, I'm assuming. That's what, in case I would, and volume as well too. So your volume and probably gain. MIDI in and out. Here is your typical 9 volt, there we go, typical 9 volt power adapter, DC adapter, and then your USB as well. So USB can power it. I'm going to see if I can actually show you the adapter. It's actually pretty cool. Just bear with me. I'm going to move my microphone one sec. Okay, this is actually pretty cool, and I just realized I didn't turn my autofocus off my camera. I never have that, and I hate that, so bear with me if it focuses. So, let's see if I can slide it back in. So here's the adapter, okay? You've got, what's it say? US, Europe, and USA, Australia. Okay, so you've got 3 different modes. Okay, USB jack on the side right there, right? So if I just slide my mode, so, okay, actually, yeah, UK, Europe, and USA and Australia. Okay, so obviously USA, North America, here's the same for Canada, right? So there you go, pops right out the side. Okay, if I want to go the other way, look at that. So sideways a little bit. Okay. So if I wanted to, I could hook up the USB, the mini USB here, to the pedal. Okay, do it like that. Boom, to my computer. That powers the pedal, and it also works as the conduit between the pedal and software. Now I can also do it this way as well too, as a DC adapter. Right here. Like that. Okay. North America. Boom. And we're ready to go. But the cool thing is, like I said, I watched a few people's videos out there, and I haven't really seen a bad video on this product. I mean, everyone that's done demos, and there's not a lot of them, which is nice, because it's nice. I'm doing a demonstration on a pedal that hasn't been done to death, because there's no sense doing a demo and review on a pedal that's been done to death. There's only a half a dozen good ones out there. Obviously, Fluff, he's done some good ones. There's some really, really good ones out there. But the one video I saw, the fellow, I think he was over in Europe, was saying his 9-volt DC adapter cable didn't fit, and that's the first thing I tried. I put it on my pedal board, used one of my daisy chain cables, popped right on there, and I had power. Worked perfect. So I'd like to follow up with that fellow and just see if there's been any change since that. Maybe he was using the wrong kind of adapter. I don't know what it is. I'll comment back on his video. And maybe I'll even put the link to his video and some of the other ones in the description here as well too. You'll probably see when you watch this one back, you'll see related videos that'll be related to this demo anyway, so you'll probably come across it. But yeah, there you go, Quentin. So there's your MIDI as well too, so it can be controlled remotely. I don't do any MIDI switching myself at all. I haven't done that since the 80s, but it could. A lot of people are doing that now with different loops and switchers and things like that. So it could be very easily done. So where did I leave off on his question there? He asked about MIDI. There we go. Insomniac message. I'm thinking of getting a chorus pedal mostly to add some color to my clean tones. Beautiful chorus pedals out there. Actually, I'm not just trying to push Positive Grid right now, but just to let you know, they do have the modulation pedal that's out there as well, and then they have the delay pedal as well too. In the modulation, that have everything from chorus to flanges to rotaries and things like that. And I'm hoping to do a demo on that one in the near future. That's a really good one. Obviously, there's millions of good pedals out there in choruses. I happen to use on my pedal board back there, which you've seen a few times, using the Mxr Analog Chorus. It's a nice pedal with a nice range and a lot of control as well on it as well too. Let me see. Where was I leave off there? So the MIDI, we talked about that. Chorus and delay on a clean sound is heaven. I agree with that. I love that a lot. And I sometimes use a rotary as well, as opposed to chorus, or even a fast phaser sometimes. Like I was playing the other night, getting a bit of a Leslie kind of sound. Very, very nice. Frank McNeil's commenting at a certain point in the video saying I had a bit of an AC/DC sound. I could see that for sure. Shot Down in Flames. In a mix, that sounds killer, Insomniac says. So there you go. That's the thing too, right? It's hard. You can hear it in one thing, and there's at first when I was playing around with it, I wasn't sure if I was in love with it or not, and it took me a little bit. Then I started playing with some of my music and some other people's music, and hearing the guitar with this pedal in the mix, and then I was like, okay, it's found its spot. It sounds really, really nice in the mix. Let me see here. Where did I leave off here? Thomas Santiago says, awesome, sounds great. DP Dockery says, hey, y'all, what's up? Let me see here. Ever try the Helix LT? I got a 50 watt 5150. I'm looking for a multi-effects to add to it. Probably wouldn't be a bad system. There's a Helix, so you obviously got some fractal things you can look at as well too. There's so many things out there. Try to do some reviews, and if you get a chance, go to your local guitar stores, whatever they have. Obviously, they won't have fractal because fractal sells direct, but try a little bit of everything if you can. At least, and if you can't try the products, watch as many reviews before you make up your mind and jump into it, because there's so many choices. And I do that a lot as well too. It's one of the things I do here. I give reviews on things, and some people act upon them and they go purchase things on my recommendations, and the other way around, I'm purchasing things on people's recommendations too. Mostly photography gear and things like that, and video gear and audio gear. But I mean, I watch videos just like you guys do religiously, and some of my heroes that I follow in the other industries, like I say, multimedia industry, I hang on every word they say. And if they say this is a recorder that you want, or if this is a camera that you want, chances are I end up getting it just because of them. So hopefully all these people out there doing what we do, we help you make an informative decision. And we're not the end all but be all. We're just people that have our opinions and try to direct you to something that might help you. And in the chat, you're always finding as well too that people will say, oh, I know it didn't work for me, this worked for me. And you can talk amongst yourselves in the chat too and see what people have had with practical real world experience. Let me see here. Insomniac says, if you do an A-B comparison of the positive grid and the 5150 overdrive, you should try not to say which one is which until the comparison, so we listen with our ears, not our eyes. That's what I'll do. I'll try that again in the distant future, and I'll black out the screen, and I won't tell you which, and then I'll play it, and then maybe what I'll do is I'll put A or B, and you can pick A or B, and I'll know which one A and B is, and we'll see what you can figure out. That'd be very, very cool. That'd be fun. That'd be fun for sure, and I will do that. So thank you for the suggestion on that one. Tactical Six String saying, yo, evening lads, just jumping in. He missed a demo. No problem. You're going to want to rewind it back after and check that out. It's probably 10 to 12 minutes at the very beginning of the video. And the only reason why I did this way, I did the demo first, and we'll talk chat here now as we are now. After the fact, there's going to be a lot of people that will discover this video accidentally down the road, and I'd hate for them to sit through me rambling and just talking and that kind of thing. So get to the demo first, jump into the hangout and chat at the very end here. Timothy Pierce says, can you use this as a pedal as a direct input to the computer? I don't believe you can use it as an interface if that's what you're asking for. No, you can't do that, but I mean, you'd still have to run the output into a mixer or a type of a USB interface. Like in my case, do I still have it out here? No, I have it hidden right now. I have the Apogee Jam digital that I use for my Mac. It only works for Mac, but I don't believe you can use it as a direct interface. I tried that and I didn't recognize it. So my tentative answer is no, but without having a full educated answer on that, I should say I don't know, because you might be able to, but I'm 99.9% sure you can't use it as an interface, but it does sync with the computer. Let me see here. Tactical says, even though I know I can rewind the chat, I like it when it's live. Yeah, true. It's fun. It's a different animal, right? And I was actually going to do this. I'm glad I did this way tonight, because I've been promising Positive Grid I was going to do this demo for them. I got the pedal about a week ago, and I've just been very busy. Actually, last night, I'll give you a little funny story. Now that we're just we're all hanging in each other's living rooms now, there's no pressure. The other night, 2 nights back, I was doing a demo, and I moved my office chair here, and for the first time, so I'm doing things a little different. I'm using my bar stool, and I'm sitting a little bit different. I spun my guitar around, and I just opened a fresh bottle of water, tall bottle of water, knocked it over, and it spilled on my pedal board. A complete disaster in here. Nothing shorted out. No one got electrocuted or killed. So it was a disaster. And it was fun. Poison Ivy comes running down, gets me some paper towels, and that's why I had a big thing of paper towels sitting here for half the show. People are probably, what the heck's he doing with paper towels? That was the case with that. Last night, I'm in the kitchen cooking the boys some pizza, and I had a disaster in the kitchen. I'm not sure if you can see. Now I'm going to have a scar, so take a look at this. I cooking the boy pizza, and we have one of those really nice, I think they're French pizza stones. They're a really nice pizza oven stone, whatever, big round thing like that, and they hold the heat in, right? You chefs will know what that's all about. And they not only do they hold the heat, they magnify the heat. And I had this pizza in the oven for 15, 20 minutes on 450 degrees, and I had hot pads on. I'm not that dumb. Hot mitts, whatever. Took out the pizza stone, and when I told Sandra how I did this, she goes, what were you doing, hugging it? And I took out the pizza, and I went to put it on the stove, and I must have curved my arms like this, and look what I did. Can you see that on my arm? Right? The light's kind of bad. Right there. That is a serious burn. It was pretty sore last night, so I'm going to probably have a scar there. It's a nice little tattoo on my arm. So that was a disaster I had in the kitchen last night. So people are joking with me. Some of my friends here on the chat that are friends of my personal Facebook, they're saying they need to bubble wrap me and things like that. So I'm kind of accident prone. And I think it was Quentin that says, or Quentin or Kevin says, no liquids in the studio tonight. So I have a coffee mug, and I'm going to take a little sip right now and see. We should be safe with a coffee mug, and it's perspiring. That's how hot it is in this office right now. Oh, I needed that. That was really good. It's very warm. It's unseasonably warm here right now in Canada. We had a few days, probably better part of a week, that was unseasonably cool for this time of the year. And it was nice. The only good thing about that is I went out. It was too cool for shorts a couple of days, but I went out in shorts to cut grass. I have a lot of grass here to cut, and I figured, you know what, I'm going to be sweating within minutes anyways. Got all the grass cut, and technically it would probably take me most of the day to cut it with a push mower. That's all I have is a push mower here. A rider, I could do it in a couple hours. But I got it all done in actually 2 days. It took me 2 days to get it done. And I said to myself, I'm glad I did it, because now we've got this hot spell, and I would be dying out there if I had to do it today. At my age and the shape I'm in, without getting as much exercise as I used to when I was playing with the bands, I'd probably be in cardiac arrest in the front lawn. You know, Sandra Lee would be wondering where I'm at, and I'm out there holding my chest. So that's my little work story. Let me see here. Blackie DH says, so I'm assuming you're digging the positive grid stuff, Eric. Yes, and I'm going to be honest with you. I like the computer stuff more, just because I have more experience with it. So I use the BIAS amp, I use BIAS effects, and for the longest time I was not one of those guys that would use simulated sounds, the Sims. And I started one day when I got BIAS amp, I thought, let's just give this a practical try, and I started recording a song, and the entire song with about 16 tracks, probably somewhere in that neighborhood, 12 to 16 tracks. Not one of them is real amplifier. And that says a lot for me, because I was never that guy before. And the nice thing is, it's just, you're not messing with tones, you're not trying to mic, you're not moving the mics, it's going to be there. You want a Mesa Boogie, you got it. You want a 5150, you got it. You want like a Dumble or a Diesel or whatever, you got it. So I really like that stuff. The hardware stuff, I'm new to it. I'm very new. I'm probably as new or newer than some of you guys when it comes to knowing it. I don't know the products that well, so it was very nice to get it here, hands-on. Here's what I'm going to say. My first impressions, I always like to, what I think of the quality, getting the unit like out of the box. The box, the packaging, everything about it is 100% care. They can tell they put a lot of thought into that. They know you're spending some good money on these things, and they want to give you more than just what's in the box. They want it to be packaged professional and stand out on the store shelves. Getting the unit out of the box, it's heavy as a tank. I guess I never showed it very close. Okay, so there we go. Let's try to get like that. Solid metal chassis. Everything is solid. There's nothing plastic on this. The switches are solid as heck. They're very nice and responsive. There's no wiggle room or play in them. There's no sloppiness. I believe these are all metal on each of the knobs as well too. And again, there's no sloppiness. Everything is solid, very responsive, and it's a push to save thing on the preset as well too. So they've sold me on appearance and feel, and so far I'm really enjoying the sound of it. I would like to learn it a little bit more so I could get better out of it. But here's the thing: is it one of those things where you take it out of the box and you got to tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak till you even get a tone that you like? No, it's ready to go right out of the box. But they know, as Positive Grid knows, we all like to say, okay, well, if I could have this, I want this. If I want this, I want this. And it's this cascading thing that, I want more. So now I've got my tone I like. Let's change the battery, the output stage. Let's change the power stage and all this kind of stuff. So you can go crazy with it, just like anything out there. There's no different than we talked about Line 6. We talk about Fractal. Any of those things. You can use them right out of the box, or you can go crazy with them. So it's just however far you want to go. But it's nice when you get a product that you can just use it right out of the box, plug and play. And I like that. That's where I sometimes do get intimidated by you having to go through manuals and steps and screens and all this other kind of stuff. I like to be able to just turn and go. That's why years ago I did have some rack mount effects back in the day. Like I had the Rocktron and Telefx, which I wouldn't mind getting again just to have for nostalgia. I used to use that on my PV5150s, and I used it for some modulation effects, some detunings to get kind of the Van Halen balance era. That's where I was in that time in my life. But there's so many things, dial, turn parameters, and all that kind of stuff, saving it. I just like pedals. You can just turn them to where you want, save them, whatever. Or in a case, even if you can't save them, you just turn them to where you like and put a little piece of masking tape on there. And this is my favorite setting. I do that sometimes as well, too. Let me see here. Let me see. I missed something from Quentin. He says, Tactical 16 says, I've been happy with Atomic amplifier. They're 600 amplifier. They're $600 and has some of the fractal software from Studio Devil. That's cool. Quentin James, no, they come with their roll of paper towels. Atomic is pretty cool. Let me see here. MB says, if anyone needs a multi-effects unit, the Zoom G3N and G5N are fantastic value. The amp models sound great too. I haven't used any Zoom products since I used to work in music retail, and back in the day I wasn't overly crazy about them, but those were like the real small things. I'm not too familiar with these new ones here that you're talking about, MB, so it'd be worth checking out, and maybe something for you guys to do over the weekend. Google or YouTube search those ones just to have a look at them as well too, the G3N and the G5N. Tactical says he can use the amplifier as an input, which is nice. Cool. Timothy Pierce says, Eric, thank you for the answer. It's probably a longer answer than you're expecting, but hopefully it helped you, so that's cool. And Tactical says, don't ever cut the pizza while it's on the stone. It'll crack eventually. Believe me, I know. You know what? I didn't know that. That's a very good point. And then Poison Ivy should have told me that. And that makes total sense. And not only was I cutting it on there when it was hot, like I let it cool down for a couple minutes, but probably not long enough. And I'm reefing on that thing too, trying to cut the pizza. So good point. Thank you. I'm learning cooking tips on my show. I love that. Well, who would have thunk, right? That'll go away. We used to own a pizza place and that was the badge of honor. That's cool. Yeah, I hope it goes away because it is a weird looking thing. Hey, there you go. Insomniac says, imagine how clumsy you'll be after some Canada Day beers this Saturday. And you know what? Speaking of beers, this channel that the boy watches, Eric Jr., it's what's his name? Matthew Santoro. And he's a fellow Canadian. He's in Los Angeles now, a very popular YouTuber. And he did a thing. It was he always does like the top 5 things and myths. He debunks myths and things like that. And the only reason I'm talking about this because we brought up beer. He said a lot of the misconceptions of Canada is that Canada's beer is stronger than the American beer. And I always said it is. And I've got a buddy that lives over in Port Huron. He comes over once in a while, and he can handle some beers. He likes his beers, and Canadian beer will affect him a lot more than the American will. And I know I've gone over there and had a couple of beverages, and I can consume more over there than what I could here. And to me, that means that it's stronger content here, and I believe it is. But what this fellow was saying is that apparently we measure it in volume, or how do we do? Is there a difference between volume and the content level or something like that? It's no difference in the alcohol level. It's just how we measure it and how the Americans measure it. I wish I could say the exact fact, but I'll have to Google that one as well too. But there we go. That's our beer factor. So Canada, you might have a couple cold beverages. Be nice to. It's a big celebration for us this year, 150. So very, very cool. So happy upcoming Canada Day. I'll get a chance to wish everyone happy Canada Day beforehand because I've got a show tomorrow night. Most people probably didn't even think I was doing one tonight. Tomorrow night's going to be fun, and it's going to be really early too. I want to make that a point right now. A very early show tomorrow, 3 hours earlier, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I have Thomas McLaughlin, or McRocklin, as a lot of you know, little Stevie Vai, on the show tomorrow. And we mentioned the word fractal a few minutes ago. He's a fractal artist and an Ibanez artist. And I've got some good tone coming from him. I was able to get good signal, and he's going to be playing tomorrow on the show. And the guy is just absolutely phenomenal. Like he's a magician on the guitar, and there's no wonder why he's worked and got the accolades that he has. You know, started playing guitar at the age of 4 years old, on stage at 8 years old. He opened for Ozzy. He was part of the Jason Becker benefit concert, playing with Zach Wilde, Steve Lukather, Stuart Hamm. I mean, and there's others as well too. Just really, really awesome. It's gonna be a fun show. So, and he's a huge Eddie Van Halen fan. I had no clue that he was that much of an Eddie Van Halen. See, never judge a book by its cover. I judged him as the Steve Vai guy. I thought he was like a Steve Vai guy, and of course he is. He's close personal friends with Steve. And there's going to be a lot of Steve stories tomorrow as well too. But I asked him, as a professional musician, I asked him to contribute to my top 3 Eruption covers on Planet Earth video that's here on the channel. And if you haven't seen that, I really encourage you to check it out. I picked 3 people in the world on planet Earth, at least on this planet, that I thought did the best versions of Eruption. And Thomas wasn't a contributor for the performance. He was a contributor as in like a foreword, and talking about how Eddie Van Halen was an influence to him and how he influences the world and things. And little did I know, he's a major Eddie Van Halen fan. His story was one of the coolest. You have to watch that video and see what he says. We'll be talking a lot about Eddie Van Halen with Thomas tomorrow. Let me see here. Timothy Pierce says, "Oh, Canada." Joseph Burt says, "Ouch." Yeah, it was painful, and I guess I shouldn't complain because if Tactical's saying he owned a pizza place and he probably got burned on a regular basis. I'm a guitar player and I'm a computer guy. I don't get any real physical harm or physical damage. I don't put myself in harm's way very much. So I guess when I get in the kitchen, it's like a bull in a china shop, and I proved it the other day too. I'm a disaster that way, but so I can't complain. And there's a lot of people that have a lot worse problems than I do, so I can suck it up for a little bit of a burn on the arm. Let me see here. After 20 minutes, I got my Atomic home. A hammer dropped on my desk and put 2 nice gouges in it. It hurt for a while. Oh no, that's a bummer. I had a Parker, not a Parker Fly, but one of Parker's guitars that they made. They made like a single cut Les Paul style way back. They probably still do. And it was made out of babinga, which was neat, a really cool wood. And stupid me, what the Parker headstocks are like, they don't fit perfectly in a regular guitar hanging stand. They will, but you got to turn them a certain way. And even then, the only thing that's really saving it is a high E string. It's catching on the thing. And I worked at a music store that sold Parker, and got the guitar from the music store that night. I went to a gig, and my very first gig with that guitar, I brought it out, hung it on the guitar stand on the stage, which was a tall stage. I walked off to go get a drink or something, and the guitar fell off the stand, fell through, went to the ground, and just didn't destroy the guitar, but huge chunks of wood out of it. And the guitar was only like 6 hours old. So I feel you on that one. That's a real drag. And my Black Wolfgang, the PV one I was just playing, that was pretty much a brand new. Well, it was a brand new. I bought a brand new guitar back in late '90s, and one of the first gigs I was playing with the Van Halen tribute band 5150, and the singer who was playing Sammy, he swung around with his mic stand, had a big heavy round bass mic stand, didn't see me because he had dark sunglasses on and you're at a dark stage, you couldn't see me, whatever. And those things are probably 10 pounds at least, well, probably 10 pounds. And it just went bonk, hit my guitar. You could actually hear it through the PA system, and you could see the piece of wood go flying off my guitar. And I was just like, I just got this thing. And he's like, "Oh, it's character, man." And I was a little upset for a little bit, but I shook it off and went on with the show. But it's a real drag when you get new instruments and whether they're pedals or whatever, and they get damaged. I guess it's a blessing in disguise. If it's going to happen, do it right off the get-go, I guess. And then you don't have to worry about it. And that's another reason why I used to like playing some of these cheaper guitars, like the Kramers back in the day, like even the cheapest of the Kramers, like the Strikers and Focuses and all that kind of stuff. They come with a Floyd. They got a decent pickup in them. Sometimes change the pickups, but you're not afraid to bump them into the walls and things like that. You're not going out with a $3,000 or $4,000 guitar, $5,000 guitar, and getting chips in that. You start to feel pretty sorry for yourself. Tactical says if it still hurts, put some toothpaste on it. I put some coconut oil on it. Toothpaste, another idea. Coconut oil seems to be a cure-all for everything here. I love it, but that's cool. And Quentin James is saying reefing. That's maybe it's a Canadian thing. Reefing. Reefing means like extreme force. So like if you're trying to change a lug nut on a car, like on your wheel nut, whatever, you're reefing on the wrench. That's what I mean. I'll have to put some Canadian slang definitions in all of my videos. And let me see. Tactical says, "Oh, I hacked my pizza when I cut it. Force of habit. Plus reefing," he says. Donnie Levette says, "Hey, Eric, enjoy your show. Great guest." Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Watching from San Diego. I'm very, very happy to have you from San Diego. It's nice. I like to connect the dots. It's really cool. The guests I have, both on the show and here in the chat, more so in the chat because there's more of you at one time. Guests are once a week, right? So that the geography is spread out a lot further, few and further between. Whereas you guys, we could have like 50 different geographical countries, locations in one sitting here. It's very, very cool, and it's neat too because people just tend to not have a time zone barrier. It might be 3:00 in the morning for some people. It might be lunchtime for others, but it doesn't seem to stop people. So I don't care how you find me, as long as you're here. I'm very, very happy to have you here. And what I try to do, I try very, very hard. I try to each week not only to keep upping the guest quality, I try to make it fun and entertaining. And I'm thankful to have you here, but I want to work. Here's a good example. This is an analogy I use in life a lot. When you go to apply for a job, you're at your job interview. You make your resume, you send it in. You get, if you're lucky enough to go get an interview in person, you go there and you sell yourself like no tomorrow. You want that job. You get the job. Okay, great. I've got a job now. I get a paycheck every week, right? Well, I like to apply that to the show. Now I'm interviewing. I'm on an interview every week. I'm applying for a job every week, and what my job is to get you guys to come and watch the show. And if I'm lucky enough to get you to come here like you are now, I like to take it to the next step. I like to apply for the job every week. I want to make sure that I'm not going to be, just going to go through the motions and, okay, I'm on autopilot now. They're here. They're never going to leave. I want to work very, very hard to earn your return visit. Your first visit is awesome, but I want to work hard or harder to earn that return visit. And if there's things, if you ever want to share some feedback with me, things I'm doing well that you like, things I'm not doing well, please always let me know. A lot of you do, and I appreciate that. And there's been some feedback too that I've got that from very, very good friends are saying maybe this, you might change this over here. Sometimes it can be too technical for some people. Some people just want to watch and see visuals. Other people love the technical. So it's a real balancing act that I have to do as well too, between technical, fun, humor, all that kind of stuff. And it's a learning curve. I'm only really a year and a half into, I guess, what are we at? Yeah, a year and a half into the entity of this show. So not too bad considering, which is very, very cool. So there again, long story short, trying to earn your return visits, and I will do very, very my best abilities to do that. And it's not just contests. I'm not going to be begging you back with contests. There's going to be rewards. I look at the contests as rewards to be able to give something to someone for coming back. I just want to keep doing the content that you like. And so far, I think I'm bringing on some high caliber guests that I think you'll all enjoy. When I've received some feedback over the last couple of guests, I'm not saying it's any better than any guest at all. It's just the feedback I've received about these two guests, with maybe even three, Mark Tremonti, Ian Thornley, and trying to think, like those two alone for sure. Mark Slaughter, another good example, a very, very good example where people are saying they felt, and you guys can tell me if you feel there's merit to this at all too, they felt they were sitting in the living room with their friends, like they idolize these guys like the Mark Tremontis, the Ian Thornleys, and things like that. They worship them just like we worship Eddie Van Halen. And I'm big fans of all those names I just mentioned too. But it does kind of give that feeling that there's no pressure. There's no high pressure questions. It's formal stuff, because we'll go off on tangents. Even though I've got stuff ready to go, we'll go off on tangents, and people they've said, oh, we've never seen so and so animated, just out of his shell and things like that. So that's cool. I like that. That was a really rewarding compliment to me, and it's not complimenting me. It's just complimenting how the show goes, and so I'm very thankful for that. Very, very cool. Let me see here. So watching from San Diego, that's a good one. Quentin James says, do you tune your guitar using the metric system? No, I do not. I tune it using the Eric system. And it's funny, I don't even hear 440 anymore. I've been tuning down so low for so long. I'll tune any guitar, and I don't have perfect pitch by any means, but I tune to a half step down without even a tuner, almost perfectly. And it's just because I've been hearing it for so many years. I do have a couple guitars here that tune to pitch. I've got the Amber PV Wolfgang. I've got a PRS over in the corner, and I think I've got another guitar that's tuned up to pitch. So I always have that if I want to work on some tunes. And with the Floyds, of course, you don't want to be changing the tunings too much on those, especially when you're going for a major tuning change. It throws everything for some loops. So that's why I like to have a couple guitars that are tuned up. But I do use a tuner as well too. On my board, I have the Boss TU2, and then on the headstock, I've got one of those the headstock D'Addario tuners as well, and it works pretty good too. Excuse me. Quentin James says Louisville, Kentucky here. Yeah. And Insomniac says, this is cool. He says, I respect Eddie Van Halen, but I fancy myself more of a Tony Iommi fan. Very, very cool. And that's, I love Tony Iommi. I love Black Sabbath, and I don't talk enough about Tony on the show. I should start talking, more about him, because obviously they're friends as well too. Obviously they've been together a lot, Eddie Van Halen and Tony Iommi, on the tours over the course of the years, and now in later years too. The friendship has remained very, very close. So two guys that are mutual fans of one another. Okay, so Timothy Pierce had to take off. He says, okay, I am out. See you later. And Daniel Hall, same thing. He's just saying hi to everyone. He can't say, just want to say hi and have a great show. And Black EDH has been here for most of it, still here. Look forward to all the shows. Keep up the good work. Eric beats TV any night. Well, thank you very, very much. Let's before I wrap up, let's just do a little bit of a survey. What TV shows do you guys like, and maybe there's ones that you recommend that I watch. It's something I can watch either on Netflix or things like that. We don't have traditional TV. We stopped watching it, but we do have the Netflix and subscription services like that. I am a huge fan of Better Call Saul. I love The Walking Dead. Was a huge fan of Breaking Bad. Obviously, the same wheelhouse of shows and things like that. Better Call Saul is good. Matter of fact, I got the Better Call Saul mug. It's really just frosting right now as well too. Very, like I said, very warm in here. It's condensation on it. And Tactical says Tony was was part of the birth of metal. I agree with that. I'm just curious to see what some of the shows are that you guys watch. Maybe there's something you can recommend. But actually, Fear the Walking Dead too. Now, Poison Ivy, I'm not going to give any spoilers because Poison Ivy hasn't seen any of this season. I liked season 1 and season 2 of Fear the Walking Dead, and the only reason why I liked it was because it was something that got me through the void when The Walking Dead was done, and it wasn't. So when they were filming, basically, Fear the Walking Dead was in regular series, so it was to get me through, kind of like my fix. But it's not, and I think it was a bit weak. Where a lot of the things were weak on that show were there weren't serious villains, like your Negans, your governors, and things like that would last a season. They would last an episode or maybe 2 episodes, and the fear was gone. But with this season 3, like I say, Poison Ivy hasn't seen it yet, so I don't want to give any spoilers, and I don't even know if she's watching right now because she's not feeling well. She's been under the weather greatly lately. A story for another day, but we'll wish her our best for sure. It's crazy, and when she watches this, it's a thrill ride from the get-go, and I think we're up to episode 5 now of the new season. I think that's where it is, and this Sunday will be episode 6, I believe, something like that. And it's great. It's great. You gotta check that one out. Tactical says, honestly, The Walking Dead and football is all I really watch. Yeah, if I could just have one show, it's the only one I could have. I could watch Walking Dead again and again. If people are fans of Breaking Bad, you'll definitely like the crossover into Better Call Saul. Obviously, there was just tiny hints of Saul himself. Obviously, Jimmy McGill, who becomes Saul. But now you're seeing other characters, and I won't give any spoilers there either, but you're going to see some crossovers a lot from Breaking Bad, and that's one thing. If you're a Breaking Bad fan, you're going to love this show. We're going to wrap up here right away. Frank McNeil says, Ray Donovan is awesome. Thomas Santiago says, great show as always. I thank you. Oh, House of Cards. Blackie DH, House of Cards. Kevin Spacey, is he in that one? It rings a bell for some reason. Westworld also. Okay, yes, I haven't seen The Ranch. Now, The Ranch, I want to say that sounds very familiar. I think Poison Ivy's watched that one. She watches a lot more TV than I do, and shows and things like that. And she watches a lot of shows like this, like not guitar shows, but cooking shows and living off the land shows and all these kind of cool things and all kinds of DIY things. We watch a lot of that together, and she watches a lot of it. YouTube is, in my opinion, is where it's at. I spend a lot of time on YouTube on the other side of it, not behind the microphone, but just as you guys are as a consumer of the content as opposed to a creator. And as much as I love being the creator of content, or being a creator, or being one of many creators of content, I like to be on the other side of it as well. I like to be the consumer of the content, because there's a lot of work in being the creator. The consumer is a lot nice. I get to absorb like you guys do, and it's a lot of fun. I learn a lot of stuff out there. I learn guitar stuff. I learn how to fix things. I know how to, how not to burn myself in the kitchen with a pizza stone. And Frank McNeil says Better Call Saul is great. Blackie DH is saying, yep. So listen, what time is Central Time? What time would Central Time be right now? I think Central Time right now may be around the 9 o'clock mark. And my friend Gary Housley is doing a show, and I didn't even realize he was doing a show tonight. And I think he could be on right now, so I don't want to cut into his time. U.S. American-made guitars. I can tell you if he's on right now. Let's just have a look, because I would really like to. He's got Greg Renoff on tonight, and I think it'd be very cool. And I had him on before as well too. Greg is a great guy. Let's have a look here. I think he is probably on. If he is, I would like to say goodnight to you guys, so you can maybe jump over and see him. I think he may be live. Let's have a look. Let me see here. Bear with me, folks. I just saw his name. Oh, he is actually finished. It looks like he's finished it. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to paste a link here right now and see what happens. At least you can go over and you can check it out. It'll be good. I'm sure it will be. So there you go. Go over and subscribe to him and tell him that I sent you, and check him out. He's pretty cool. He's new to the game as far as YouTube, or at least as far as the videos go. I'm not sure how long he's been on YouTube, but he's new to doing the game. So give him a shout and tell him that I said hi and sent him over. So listen, I am going to, okay, there you go. Central Time is an hour earlier than us, so unless you're in Saskatchewan during daylight saving time, okay, all right, yeah, and I'm in Eastern Standard Time, or at this time of the year we have to say Eastern Daylight Time. I still don't get that, and I got a buddy up in Ottawa in Canada here, is a good friend of many years. I like to call him Father Time, because whenever I post something, I say, come and join me at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. He says, Eastern Daylight Time, Eric. I'm like, all right, Father Time, you corrected me again. I'm like, everyone that watches this show knows what time it is, so they'll find me. However, tomorrow is important, 6 o'clock. So I don't know what the time zones are everywhere. All I know is tomorrow night, instead of coming to see me your usual time, show up 3 hours earlier. It's going to be an early one. It's right around dinner time. Get a quick bite to eat. Maybe sit in front of the computer with your dinner if you have to, because you know what? It's not about me tomorrow at all. It's never about me. It's about the guest, and tomorrow's a really, really good guest. Like, this is going to be a flashback for a lot of you, watching Steve Vai's videos. The audience is listening, seeing little Stevie Vai. That's our guest tomorrow, Thomas McLaughlin. It's going to be great, and he has a lot to share with you. He's got a cool guitar he was playing the other day when I was talking to him, and he's going to tell you the story about that guitar, and Steve Vai had a bit of a hand in that as well, too. So it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Vintage Sound says, peace out all. Tacticals catch you on the next chat, and Blackie DH says later. So let's see you all tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Just go to Time Zone Buddy or whatever it is and type in your time zone and 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it'll tell you exactly what time yours is, and it'll do the conversion for you. So thank you for joining me tonight for the review on the Positive Grid, BIAS Distortion. And for those of you that may be just jumping in now, go back and watch the beginning. The first 10 to 15 minutes was the demo of it. Everyone have a fantastic evening. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night, 3 hours earlier, and same channel, same place, and be your warm-up band for the weekend. And you guys will have an early night to take off and go watch some other stuff on YouTube, or just hang out and have some fun with the family and enjoy this beautiful weather. All right, so I'm going to turn over to the little man. He's going to tell us what his name is, what he's playing. And don't forget to take a look at the Positive Grid link in the description down below, and visit my sponsors as well, and tell them I said hi. All right, talk to you soon. Until next time, cheers.
My name is Eric, and I'm playing left-hand guitar.
Video production services provided by Design 39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs.